Welcome back to Newslink. Let's bring you the story now. A serial criminal who raped 90 women in Ekurhuleni, this in Gauteng province, between 2012 and 2021, claims a voice told him to commit the heinous crimes. Well, this emerged from a report by a clinical psychologist who took the stand in mitigation of sentence at the High Court sitting in Palm Ridge. Well, just last year, Nkosinathi Phakathi pleaded guilty to 146 charges, including rape, compelled rape and kidnapping. But one psychologist says Phakathi needs psychological assistance as he was not aware of his actions. His sentencing continuing at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court today. And here's eNCA's Nkosinathi, who was in court.
In 2012, Mr. Phakathi stated that this thing started. He stated that he was sleepwalking again. He elaborated that he thought that he was sleepwalking and that this thing pushed him, making him walk a lot.
This is what Nkosinathi Phakathi says drove him to carry out his reign of terror in Ekurhuleni for close to a decade. Last year, he pleaded guilty to raping 90 women, his youngest victim just 9 years old.
He claimed that at no point ever did he plan to rape anybody, but he would be forced to go and walk, and he stated that this force or voice in his head would then indicate to him who he should rape. After having raped somebody, Mr. Phakathi stated that he felt fine and that the pressure to walk and the voice or demon inside of him telling him to rape were gone. However, inside he felt like he was dying.
Ru also told the court that Phakathi may not have been aware of his actions while committing the crimes.
He's a deeply disturbed man psychologically who cannot function normally in society. It appears that he has some serious psychiatric disorders, such as a delusional disorder, quite likely linked to schizophrenia, along with being seriously, severely depressed. And what that means is that he has these episodes. It's not all the time. People with these types of diagnoses don't act like this all the time. But they have these serious episodes where they lose touch with reality. I think that's the easiest way to say it.
She's recommended that he be sent to a psychiatric facility for a long time to manage his condition. But that prompted the state to make this submission.
I'm not sure if we should proceed due to the facts of what came out of the evidence of this expert. Because according to her, he did not know what he was doing, so we should actually send him now for a 30-day observation.
Sentencing procedures continue on Wednesday. Nkosinathi, Palm Ridge.
Well, activist group Not In My Name has called for the toughest sentence to be handed down on Nkosinathi Phakathi. The movement's Themba Masango joins us now ahead of that sentencing. And Themba, thank you so much for your time. A very warm good morning to you. I mean, what do you make, I suppose, first and foremost? I'm not sure if you heard of the psychologist, a background of what she was told by Nkosinathi Phakathi, saying that there were demons, almost voices in his head, telling him to rape. And only after he had conducted the rapes did he feel a bit lighter in terms of hearing those voices and feeling the pressure. However, he says that, he felt like he was dying inside. That's the report coming from the psychologist, and that's the bite that we just played right now. When you hear of such, feedback coming into court, what does it tell you about this particular case and this narrative that we've been told here?
Good morning, Themba, and thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of hogwash. It's the same modus operandi that was used with Nicholas Nino, if you remember, the Joss rapist. And, we are sick and tired of mental health being weaponized and victims actually being forgotten. We should remember here that over 99 women have been raped and abused by this perpetrator. And, him being sick and so on, we empathize, but he must be sick and be helped while he's in jail. And he must get the harshest of sentences. We cannot afford to have somebody like this, healthy or not, in our communities. and amongst people outside. So there is no way that that is going to fly. And we are hoping that the Honorable Magistrate and Court will actually see past this, that this is just a ploy from the defense side, and just to make sure that he does not necessarily get what is coming to him. We should actually focus our justice system now on the victims of the crime, and what he has done. It has been a reign of terror for over 10 years. And whether this demon of his has been telling him to rape and stop raping, whatever, he must sort that out while he's in prison.
146 crimes that he pled guilty to, 90 of those are for rape. What is the harshest sentence possible, according to you?
Well, if the law could actually, grant a harsher sentence than life sentences now, we'd really appreciate that. Unfortunately, the South African law does not allow us to go beyond, the life sentences, especially, knowing our history. But, someone like this, you would hope that he gets locked away and never sees the light of day ever again. And if it was in a different country, in a different place, he would be meeting his maker now. Unfortunately, South Africa does not have such laws at the moment, and that's why we've also been mooting that with cases such as these, you don't necessarily need to have these people in prison wasting the taxpayers' money and actually eating taxpayers' money and living in relative goodness, having 3 meals a day and access to an education and so on. We would actually say that a person like this, should really be 6 feet underground. But okay, the law does not allow that, and whatever South African law does allow at this point, we would want the Honourable Court to do that. And if it's multiple life sentences, they should definitely give that, because such a person should not be allowed near other human beings at all.
Yeah, and Themba, we've heard definitely the modus operandi that he used. He was targeting young pupils on their way to school. He was targeting women. This also reflecting on South Africa being deemed as the rape capital of the world. Let's talk about the challenges that we continue to face, and this particular case with, Nkosinathi Phakathi being one of the examples in the country, where we are in terms of rape, still a very much, highly recorded criminal offence in the country, but also the justice system, as you mentioned, continuing to failing victims and survivors.
Yes, and I think especially when it comes to issues of gender-based violence and femicide, and as you rightly said, that we are known as a rape capital of the world. Our femicide rate is almost 6.1 times higher than anywhere in the world. Even men are afraid of men in South Africa. So it is really something that we need to actually focus on and make sure that our laws are tightened up from police station phase right up to the courts. And we should actually consider, having harsher sentencing when it comes to this, because these people don't not rape or kill and abuse because they don't know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. And there's no way that he did not know that what he was doing is wrong. That's why he's pleaded guilty for this, because he understands that it's wrong. But they do it because they know that there's no actual consequence to this. What the worst can happen to him now is for him to be locked away for some years, and he's still going to be getting 3 meals a day. He's going to be getting certain rights afforded to him. And then we've forgotten about the victims. What about those children? His youngest victim was a 9-year-old child. She doesn't get a say in all of this thing. What happens to her life? She's carrying a scar that is bigger than a prison cell. These women that he has done this to right now are going through the most because of his actions. And if our justice system does not give justice, people end up not having faith in it anymore. That is why you are finding less cases being reported at police stations.
Right.
We're actually getting more cases being reported to organizations such as ourselves than there are at police stations. And I'll always be saying to people, have you reported this case at the police station? And they'll say to me, but Themba, what's one? And these people won't do anything about it. And it's actually getting to a point where people are saying, and families are deciding to say, I won't go to the police. I'll deal with this matter myself and make sure that justice is served.
Yeah,
and you don't want to have a vigilante state coming up. But if we don't have laws that actually shut this thing down quickly, we're going to have problems in the future. We're going to make criminals out of innocent people. And people who are seeking justice.
And you're rightfully so, Themba, just also the point around the cases not being reported at police stations. We're seeing more and more victims also opting to choose social media, right? They would rather out, their perpetrator on social media than go to a police station. And the answer remains the same. They do not have any faith or confidence whatsoever in our justice system. Themba Masango, let's leave it there for now. And thank you so much for joining me, lending us your voice with regards to this case pertaining to Nkosinathi Phakathi. Sentencing expected today, and not in my name's Themba Masango, of course, saying that they believe that Nkosinathi Phakathi deserves the harshest sentence possible for the crimes that he has committed.